So you're thinking about moving to Franklin, Tennessee, and you want to know what the pros are and the cons of living in Franklin? Well, we relocated to Franklin, Tennessee ourselves, so I can share with you what it's like to actually live there and what it's like to relocate there. And I'm getting started right now. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Greg Spackman. I'm with the Living in Nashville, Tennessee channel. If you want to learn everything about what it's like to live here, eat here, sleep here, play here in the Nashville area, especially the Franklin area, then click the subscribe button and the bell to be notified every time I do new videos. Lately, I've been getting a ton of people that are calling me, texting me, emailing me, and I absolutely love it. So if that's you, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you on making that move here to Franklin or anywhere here in the Middle Tennessee area. So let's jump into the pros and the cons. Before I share with you the pros and the cons, let me show you where Franklin is located and some of the cities around it. So let's open up the map right now. All right, so Franklin is highlighted here in red. It is south down the freeway, down I-65 from Nashville. Takes you about 25 minutes to get to Nashville, about 25 minutes to get to the airport, about 45 minutes to go out east to Murfreesboro, where you're going to find some great restaurants and shopping out there. You're about 25 minutes or so to Spring Hill, 45 minutes down to Columbia. Those are your main things you're going to be going. You'll be going to Brentwood, Nashville, and Murfreesboro mostly when you live in Franklin. So pro number one of living in Franklin, Tennessee is the downtown. The downtown Franklin is amazing. And this is one of the big draws that made us choose Franklin when we were looking at all the different cities is the cute, quiet downtown square with all the different shopping and restaurants. You got Mellow Mushroom for a pizza place that's there. You got Gray's, which is an old pharmacy, and they have some pretty good food and then some live music that goes on there. Make sure you try out Merides and Puckett's in downtown. Red Pony is a pretty cool place to eat dinner at. It's a little bit on the pricier side. 55 South is a sort of cool place. It used to be really, really cool because they had fried chicken, which was amazing. And then they removed it stupidly from the menu. I have no idea why they took it off, but now there's nothing there that I like. They do some burger with an egg on top, but I'm not a fan. So we never go to 55 South anymore. And then they added one in Spring Hill as well. But since they got rid of the fried chicken, I have no use of them anymore. You also have the Factory, which has a bunch of different shopping and restaurants in it. And they have a great outdoor market at the Factory. So you do like an outdoor area where it's got food and some other shopping and stuff. But they have donuts there that are really, really good. So if you happen to go one morning, go early, there's a big line for the donuts and they're well worth it. So that's number one of the pros. Con number one of living in Franklin, Tennessee is your high cost of housing and high cost of rent. The average rental price in Franklin is going to run somewhere around $1,900-ish a month. That gets you about 1,000 square foot place. A home is going to run you somewhere in the $2,200 to $4,500 plus range. Really, it just depends on what size home you want to rent and where it's at in Franklin, how far east, south, north, west it is. And there's pluses and minuses to where you want to live in Franklin based on where you're going to be working and what you want to be doing. So it's definitely one of the things that we talk about when you reach out to us is if you want to live in Franklin, where you might want to live, and then a bunch of different schools and all of that. So home prices in Franklin, the median home price is right around $750,000, and new construction you're looking at over $1 million, more like 1.2, 1.4-ish to get a new construction home. They do have some cheaper ones, but for the most part, that's what you're looking at. Homes are selling somewhere 95% of the asking price to over 10% of the list price. So really it just depends on the home, the location, the condition, all of that. And then that's definitely one of the other things that we help you with is where you should offer on your home so that we help you get the best deal possible. Pro number two of living in Franklin is the great job market. And the job market in Franklin is amazing. you are super close to Nashville and Brentwood, and there's a ton of different corporations that have moved to Franklin or are moving. Like, for instance, In-N-Out Burger is relocating to Franklin in the Berry Farms area where they're building their headquarters and first location. So you're going to be able to get In-N-Out Burger there, which is awesome. That puts you in a great spot. Healthcare is huge in Tennessee, and there's a lot of healthcare companies in the Middle Tennessee area. So if you're involved in the healthcare field at all, whether it's a nurse, doctor, or you're in the actual administrative side, tons of job opportunities in the healthcare field as well. There's some solar companies that are pretty big that are in the Franklin area as well. Just a lot of different good jobs are located in Franklin or near Franklin, and since Nashville's super close, you have all of that as well. Con number 2 of living in Franklin is going to be the traffic. And I would say this is my least favorite thing about living in Franklin is just the traffic. The traffic is really bad. It's just gotten worse and worse and worse every year that we've been in the area. And they don't seem to be doing too much to widen the roads. McHatcher did have an extension that was added. And then they also have done some minor little tweaks here and there. But for the most part, like Clovercroft Road, for instance, is still nowhere near what it should be. It should be a 4-lane road that takes you from Nolensville to Franklin so that it's a lot safer to drive on. But they let homes be built right along the road, so that's not going to happen most likely. Pro 3 is also Con 3 on my list. So those are the rankings of Franklin according to niche.com. So I'm going to open up niche.com now and go through those with you. All right, so here we have it open. Franklin is the number 4 best suburb to live in Tennessee. And that's all of Tennessee. So the number 4 best suburb. So how awesome is that? It gives it an A+ ranking. There are very few A+ rankings in Tennessee, and it's got one of them. A+ public schools. So when we relocated to Franklin, we actually didn't do any research on the schools. As I started doing real estate, I have more and more people ask me about the schools and doing more research. We just happened to stumble upon the schools in Franklin, and they were really, really good. We've had our kids at a number of different elementary, middle, and high schools. So if you want to know my honest opinion, I can give you those of the schools that I've had my children go to. We've been to a bunch of them, so that's super helpful for a lot of people that are moving to Franklin. B for housing, A+ good for families. We love living there. We had 5 kids, so I know all about living in Franklin with a family. A for jobs. C+ cost of living. It's pretty expensive to live in Franklin for housing. A- outdoor activities. I don't know why they give it such a high outdoor. Their outdoor activities is not nowhere near where it should be compared to other states that you could live in. B- crime and safety. A- nightlife. A- diversity. B- weather. The weather is going to be the same pretty much everywhere in Middle Tennessee for the most part. A, health and fitness, and then B for commute. And then they say the population is about 83,000 people. They mentioned the median home price $574 and median rent prices. I don't agree with those. Some other rankings here. Best suburb for young professionals in Tennessee. It's ranked number 2, which I would agree with. Places with the best public schools in Tennessee, number 3. Suburb with the best public schools, number 3. So, and then here's your crime and safety stats. You can see they're all well below the national average. And so those are your rankings of Franklin. So there's some pros and cons of them. It's just up to you to decide what is important to you about choosing a city. Franklin is a great option to choose. Con number 4 goes with pro number 4, and that's the weather. So weather is both a pro and a con. You got the possibilities for tornadoes. You have all 4 seasons in Franklin. You're going to potentially get a little bit of snow. Usually you don't get any. Some years you'll get a little bit. Like this year they got 6 to 12 inches or so of snow. So you definitely have the opportunity to get snow. It's just not that common. You get ice more than you get snow. You do get a lot of rain. So if you don't like the rain, then Tennessee is not a great area, but it rains all the time. I feel like it rains some weeks like every single day. it doesn't necessarily rain like all day long. It'll rain in like more rainfall in a shorter period, I guess. But the weather is pretty good in the springtime. Everything starts to bloom because in the fall, you don't have to mow your yard anymore and all the trees lose their leaves. So you don't have to do any yard work, which is my favorite time of year. And then also in fall, all the bugs and spiders and everything kind of disappear for 4, 5, 6 months until the springtime. So that's super cool. And then it's also not as humid or not humid at all during that time period, where the summertime, when it's 95 and humid, it's pretty awful. And that's my least favorite thing about living in Franklin is the humidity. Pro number 5 is the amazing schools. I kind of touched on that. It has really high rankings for the schools. It's in Williamson County. Williamson County is well known for their schools. I've had my children at a number of different schools. So if schooling is important, you got to reach out to me so that I can talk about the different schools that my kids have gone to. Some of them have been really, really good, and some of them haven't been as good as others. So it just depends on where you're living and then making sure that you get zoned for those schools. And then pro number 6 of living in Franklin is the low crime rates. And you saw that Franklin has a low crime rate compared to a lot of different cities in Middle Tennessee. So if crime is important, you can do much more research about the crime online by Googling and looking that up. But those are the pros and the cons. There really aren't a ton of cons of living in Franklin. You're going to really love living in Franklin if you can afford to live there and pay for either the higher rent or the higher home value, then you're going to love living in Franklin. It's just a great place. It has lots of things going on all the time in Franklin, and that's why we chose Franklin. So if I can help you and be of service to you, please reach out to me. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. Let's talk about getting you moved to Franklin. Until next time, I'm out.